I'm Joyce.
I'm Allie.
And I'm Bridget. And we're here to talk about
Miles,
mindset,
and mild complaining.
Also known as how to survive marathon training.
Especially when you don't want to train.
Yeah.
So we are just three friends who met through running, and between the three of us, we have run a total of 27 marathons, anywhere from just over 3 hours to over 6 hours. So we have a lot of experience amongst us. So yeah, these are just our tips on how we survive.
Awesome. Here's our top 10 mental tips for surviving marathon training.
Number 1, positive reinforcement. What do the two of you like to do to get yourselves out the door?
I have something called the cold brew cool down. So when I really don't want to run, especially if I'm doing a workout or a tempo run, I just tell myself that I can get a cold brew at the end when I'm doing my cool down, and I literally will get my cold brew like 2K from my house and then run home with it in my hand. I looked a little wild, but you know what? It works.
That's awesome. The promise of a little treat goes a long way.
It really does.
Especially on those hard workout days. And you tell yourself, when I'm done, I'm going to go get a nice little treat. Sometimes I actually still dream about that scone from Manic.
Basically, we bribe ourselves.
Yeah.
You
Nothing
plan your
wrong with
route
that.
to end at a little treat.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, number 2 is work it into your day. So do you two have any tips that you use to just work it into your day and make it seamless?
I love a good run commute. And that is one of the best ways because you have to get there anyway. And sometimes you are literally faster than the TTC.
Sometimes I'll just run to go meet friends, and I just apologize beforehand and say, sorry, I'm going to be a little bit, or actually really sweaty by the time I see you, but I need to get the run in.
Yeah, I feel like no one questions it when you just explain it, and you're just like, I'm marathon training, and then people think that's really badass. My favorite thing, I call it running errands. So literally, if I have to run an errand, I will run there. So if you see me running through Toronto with a package under my arm, football carrying it, I'm just getting some easy miles in. So try it out.
The best. Number 3, accountability buddies. Do the two of you have accountability buddies?
Yes, so I am actually not a morning person whatsoever, but Joyce is one of my accountability buddies who helped me become a morning person, because if she was like, Allie, we're going to meet at the corner of King and River at 6:30 in the morning, will you be there? And if I was by myself, no, I would hit snooze 10 times. But knowing that Joyce was waiting for me on the corner got me out of bed, so I really do rely on my accountability buddies. And Bridget oftentimes will do workouts together, and just knowing that I have friends who are going to be there makes it so much easier to get to the track or wherever we're doing a workout to do those hard runs.
I think especially in the wintertime, when it's cold, when it's rainy, it's really important to have your accountability buddies to get you out the door, especially when you look inside and it looks really gloomy. Just finding your people and just hoping that they're as crazy as you are.
It makes it easier when you have a group of friends that you can suffer with.
Yeah,
Just thinking that exact same thing, yeah. Suffering is more fun together.
exactly.
And we'll be your accountability buddies if you don't have any.
Always recruiting for more accountability buddies.
Number 4, mantras and self-talk. My favorite mantra that came from Laura Green is no one cares. But do either of you have any of your own?
I really like from Finding Nemo, just keep swimming. It's just something that I will say to myself when a run gets really tough. And yeah, the way you talk to yourself when you're running, even outside of your actual runs, but during training, it really does make a difference.
Yeah, I like to say keep showing up, because even if you don't feel your best that day, you can still get out there and show up for yourself that day. And then I also think, like, during the run, when it gets really hard, I like to tell myself it's supposed to be hard and this is what I'm training for. Because when I get to race day, I didn't train for it to be easy. I trained for it to be hard and to try and get the best out of myself. So that little self-talk makes a big difference, I find.
I have another one too. I think it was a yoga instructor who told me this years ago, but she talked about like the power of the neural pathways that our brains create. So if you're having a really tough run, instead of saying to yourself, I'm dying, just say to yourself, I'm getting really strong, or this is hard, but I'm strong. Mm-hmm. Because if you just say I'm dying, your brain is going to connect that feeling to the saying I'm dying. And then when things get hard, you're going to think I'm dying, and then you're not going to want to do it. And you're not dying. You're just working hard, and that's really cool.
One of the ones that my training partners and I came up with last training cycle is we've got legs, and that's just a reminder that we are physically able to do this. And it's just a nice reminder that we can do it. We've done it before, and our legs can carry us through to the end.
Okay, number 5 is just do it. Not to steal that from a certain sports brand at all, but it is true. Sometimes you really do just have to start. I think it was Steve Magnus, who writes a lot about motivation and stuff. He said something about how motivation follows action. So if you wait until you're motivated or until you feel good enough, you're probably not going to do it. Sometimes you just have to get out the door, and that's where you'll find that motivation, because once you start moving, you feel good. Do you guys have any just do it tips at all?
It's like the 10-minute rule. So you say, I don't really feel like doing this, but I'm just going to go out and I'm going to go 10 minutes, or I'm going to go 5 minutes, or I'm just going to run 1 kilometer and see how I feel. And more often than not, you get out there and then you feel good once you're doing it. And so you keep going.
I kind of con myself into it. I'll put on all my workout gear, and it's like, I've already put my stuff on, I've already done my hair. It's a waste if I take it all off now, so I might as well go outside and see what happens. Yeah, sometimes it'll be 10 minutes, sometimes it'll be an hour, sometimes it's 5 and I come back inside.
Actually, I feel like that's a good thing to do, is put your workout gear on or lay it out the night before, and just like have those little habits that help you keep stacking those habits, and then you have less friction between getting out the door and starting that activity. So I think that makes a big difference. Number 6, gamification. So what are some of the things the two of you do to make it fun?
Allie actually started a mileage challenge with me last year.
Yes.
When she texted me out of the blue saying, oh my gosh, we have exactly the same mileage down to the decimal point. And it started from there. And we are in a continual mileage challenge. Resets on January 1st. On January 1st of 2026, I texted Allie saying, why have you run 3 times already? This is unfair.
Oops. But yeah, it just brings some fun to it. I mean, obviously, don't try and run as many possible kilometers just for the sake of it, but it's just kind of like a silly kind of game that we have with each other, and we'll text each other throughout the year. Right now, Joyce is completely kicking my butt, but I'm about to start marathon training, so it's on. But yeah, it's kind of silly how many times I'll look at my little Strava total and graph, and then I'll look at Joyce's and I'm like, oh, she's still ahead of me. Gotta get out the door. So we just make a game out of it. We also secretly have included my husband in it. The real goal is to beat him, which both of us are doing.
Yeah, that's the ultimate goal. We are just trying to beat him.
Yeah.
And if we come out on top, we're winners.
Yeah. Do you have any fun games that you play?
I mean, there's always secret competitions and not so secret competitions. Like I currently have a competition going with my teenage son for the family 5K PB. So it's not really a game. I mean, it is a game, I guess. It's a game. I'm going to be on the losing end of it eventually. But when I'm out there and I'm running like 400 and 200s and I really want to not do this anymore, I just remember that he is going to be a lot faster than me, and I need to keep making this as hard as possible for him to beat my 5K PB.
Another one, I think it was last year, I had a really big long run to do, and I had a rough day, and I was like, okay, to make this long run more bearable, I want everyone to come up with as many mild inconvenience like insults that you can, just to make it fun. And it was kind of a competition, and whoever can come up with the best one, obviously. So it was like things like, I hope every time you take a streetcar, there's short turns. Another one was like, I hope you step on Legos, like things like that. So we just had that kind of going the whole run. People were coming up with it, so it was really fun.
It's like a comment section on a bad post.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever you can do to make it a game, make it fun, and it's not that serious.
Number 7, collecting evidence. What types of evidence have you collected over your years of running?
I mean, I think the biggest thing is holding on to those days where it's really hard, but you do it anyway, and just keeping that evidence in your back pocket for race day, because you don't train so that it gets easier. I think we've all talked about this. Even Joyce, who is super, super fast. Just because she's really fast, it doesn't mean that it's easier. It's just as hard. She's just doing it at a faster pace. And, elite runners will say the same thing. It doesn't get easier. It's still really hard. But you have those really hard days to use as your evidence that you can do hard things.
I think actually you told me about this, but you take a photo sometimes after your run and you have a little album in your phone called Evidence. Yeah. And I feel like it's nice to have something to look back on. I mean, sometimes it's even just looking back at a workout you did, or maybe if you keep a journal of some sort, then you can go back and say like, oh, actually, like I didn't think I was going to crush that run, but I did crush it. Or maybe, you didn't crush it, but you mentally got through it, and that's the takeaway from that run. So I think like just having a takeaway from every run, whether it goes your way or it doesn't go your way, you're still getting something out of it.
Yeah, when you have those amazing runs too, that's also evidence that you can feel amazing. Also in my evidence folder on my phone, I save little pictures of quotes and things, and I think it was Coach Bennett who said, "What gets you to the finish is nothing compared to what got you to the start." And I love that quote because your training is basically all evidence of all the things that will get you to the start line, which when you add them all up, it's incredible. So it's nothing compared to, finishing the race. You can do that. You've got this.
Absolutely. Also, it just makes me think of the rule of thirds too,
Yes.
which is something to remember when you're in the thick of training. And that's kind of like about a third of your runs are going to feel awesome and amazing. About a third of them are just going to be okay, average. And then a third of them are going to feel about like horrible. And those are the biggest mental gains though. Those runs that feel horrible at the time, like when you finish them, you're like, oh, wait. So I think you kind of want your runs to fall into that rule of thirds. And I think that means you're doing it right.
And like going along with that, there are those character building runs that I mentioned earlier, the runs that you're doing a workout in the rain or in the snow and you're just thinking like, when will this be over? Can I stop now? But those are actually really good pieces of evidence to show that you are capable more than you think. And it just shows that you're so much stronger than what you think in the moment.
Yeah. It's your resilience showing.
Yes. Okay, number 8 is pivot! For any Friends fans out there. What are some examples of how learning how to pivot can help you in your training when you don't want to do it?
I had a series of runs or races last year where I got really sick beforehand, and it was just a lot of like, okay, well, it's not going to be what I had hoped or planned for, so let's just figure out how to make the best of the whole situation. That's another way of like pivoting, enjoying the run. I really like to run races with friends, and I also like to talk to people during my races. So
True,
if I'm like so it's just another way to have another goal and to just change your mindset so you're not completely fixated on a time goal.
Yeah, I think when I ran New York a couple years ago, I was coming back from some extended time off of running. And I remember going into it thinking, okay, my goal is not to run for a time, but I'm going to look for those fun things along the way. So like my goal would be to like high five someone in every borough and like take a moment on all the bridges and then have that finish line pose, like finish strong. I did not accomplish that one, but I did have a lot of fun. But also knowing when to call it quits, right? So like, sometimes you have to end your run to be able to return to your training another day, right? So like really listening to your body and knowing when it's time to say like, okay, I need to really pivot and call my run for today and take some extra rest and recovery so I can come back stronger tomorrow or the next day or the day after.
Yeah, I think it's really easy to kind of fall into the trap of all or nothing thinking too, especially during your training, especially during the summer too, and there's always things going on. Sometimes, it's like I missed this run and then I miss another one and oh no, the whole week is done. Why should I even finish training this week or something? But I think it goes into those little tips about just getting out there as well. Just being able to pivot in that same way. So let's say you have a huge run, but it's also a really big day at work, or I don't know, you have a social engagement that's going to take up the entire evening and you're just too tired. Can you move that run to another day? Can you just do a short run? Like I've had days where I'm supposed to run 10 and for whatever reason, the day has just not been conducive to that. And I'll literally go run 3K because again, no one cares. No one's going to judge you for your 2K, 3K run on Strava. You just get out there anyway. So just like pivoting in that way too. And yeah.
Awesome. Number 9, remember what is important. So what does that mean to the two of you?
For me, it's letting go of what's not important. So everything that you see on Strava, other people's times, their distances, their weekly mileage, all of that, and just remembering that why you're in the sport yourself. So I joined the sport, or I started running because I wanted to. Running is really fun. I used to do it when I was younger, and I'm really competitive as well. So that's, for me, why I continue to stay in the sport, because I love challenging myself. Of course, it's fun sometimes to go out at practice and compare myself to my pace group, but really, we're all out there pushing ourselves and striving for what's our best.
Yeah, I think similar to that, for me, it's really just important to like remember your why, and really tap into that, especially again on those days where you really don't want to do it. And for me, it really is just about pushing myself to see that I can accomplish things and things that I didn't think I could accomplish before. And ultimately, I run so that when I'm 80, I can hopefully still run or go on hikes and carry my groceries and play with my grandchildren. I don't even have kids yet, but these are things I think about for the future. I want to be able to be fit until the day I die, basically. And just hanging on to the importance of that and not getting caught up in all the noise. And I think sometimes too, if you're training for like a charity, maybe that could be your why, like tuning into that. A lot of it for me is also community too, running with my friends, and it's a big part of my social life. Ultimately, it just makes me feel better about myself, brings joy and light to my day. And then while it's important not to compare ourselves to others, I do think it is powerful to ask other people what their why is too. So using other people's why in that way to help you remind yourself of what's important. Something that I did when I was training for my first New York City Marathon. We have a tambourine now in the background. When I was training for my first New York City Marathon, I was reading a whole bunch of blogs of other people who had already run it, and I would kind of use their stories of motivation and how they got there and had a great day. And yeah, I would read those all the time when I didn't want to go for a run. And I was like, okay, tapping into that why kind of helped me get out the door when I couldn't find mine, I guess.
Awesome. I like to think of running as a form of self-care. So, sometimes it is about setting a goal and working towards it, which is great for your mental health to work towards a goal. But also running reminds me to do other things like make sure I'm sleeping well and hydrating well and feeling well. And I think that's really important to be able to do as well. And obviously community is so important. Running has this sneaky way of taking over your life, becoming a big part of your identity. So, that's basically my social life right now is running. But also keeping that social aspect, but also, like we said, not falling into that comparison game, because comparison is the thief of joy. And even comparing yourself to a previous version of yourself can take away what you're doing now, because you're on your own running journey and you got to meet yourself where you're at and find the joy in the gains that you're making from day to day.
And I think something to remember is it's hard for everyone. It was probably hard for you in the past. It might be really hard for you right now. It'll likely be hard for you in the future. Running is really challenging. So we applaud you for doing this.
It is.
But it's something that you have to remind yourself. We're all extremely different. We all have different running journeys. It may seem easier for some people than others, but really, it's really hard.
Yeah, it's important to remember that.
It is important to remember that.
Number 10, race day mental prep. I don't do very much in terms of race day mental prep because I like to go into races unaware and surprised. But what do you two like to do?
Well, yeah, I think I'm the kind of person I like to know what is around the corner and what's coming up. So this doesn't necessarily help me get out the door when training feels really tough, but I think it just kind of helps me with the overall why and just kind of staying focused on the goal. So I like to watch course videos. Just go on YouTube and Google and see what you can find, and there's usually some, or there's people like reviewing the course or just talking about it. There's so much content on social media that you can find, which is really great. And another thing that I like to do is visualize that finish line stretch up Bay Street. Again, if you watch videos online or just look at the map, study it a bit, I will, when I'm running by myself, just kind of think about that and pushing towards the finish.
I think it also helps the little prep when it's a day that's not ideal for running, and you kind of remind yourself, oh, you don't get to choose your weather on race day, so this is good mental prep. So, just imagining, like, you might wake up on race morning and it's not ideal temperature or conditions, but just you've already done it in your long run, right? Because those long runs are like a dress rehearsal for your race day. And, maybe you sometimes move things around because of weather. I mean, obviously inclement weather, but and scheduling, but sometimes you don't. You're like, it's raining. Guess what? I'm just going to go for my run anyway.
Yeah. I think one thing that some people like to do, not me, but if you live in Toronto, you can run part of the course. And that's a really good way to visualize what the race day will be like. Because we have so much access to a lot of the course. You can just run on the sidewalk instead of the street, be safe, and just go through each step of the course. You can break it down and say, okay, the first 5K is going to be slightly uphill and then immediately downhill. And what should I be doing as I start the race?
Yeah, I think everyone also talks about the physical prep, obviously the training and all the gels and stuff like that too. But sometimes having information on the race can really help with the mental prep of things. So like reading the athlete guide if you've never run a race before, don't know course etiquette, or just, if you're not sure about things, just read that, study it. You can always find old versions of it if the new one isn't out yet. But yeah, just reading through all the details you can and just kind of learning as much as you can. If you're like me, not like Joyce.
I've also heard that people like to read race reviews on Reddit. So if you're one of those people, I recommend it.
Don't be scared by anything bad, because waterfront's amazing.
It is. It's such a well-organized race. Yeah. But that being said, like, it's good to know what your timing is and, kind of count backwards how long you need to be there ahead of time, because you might, if you're running a marathon, you're probably not warming up, but you want to have a lot of time to get and check your gear, make your way to the start line, and not feel any stress before you actually start the race.
Know how you're getting there.
Yeah, know how you're getting there, and also maybe how you're getting home.
Yeah.
And also maybe scope out where you can use the porta potties,
yes,
or which hotels will let you go and use their washrooms for free, because those are much cleaner and much warmer usually.
Is that everything?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone. It was wonderful to share all of our tips with you for when you don't want to train or struggling with it. We're very excited for everyone, and hope you enjoy the rest of your training, and hopefully we will see some of you out there in Toronto.
Yay! Happy training!
Cheers!
Cheers!